What's up, everybody? It's Onorato and Miller. It's Chris. It's Ash. NFL Wildcard Weekend is here. So grateful to have a postseason with the Green Bay Packers, and I did not see this coming at all. In fact, I made the joke that when Ashley said she was pregnant and the due date was what it was, January 27th, I said, well, at least it won't interfere with the Packers' playoff run.
Still could.
Here we go. We'll give our predictions. We'll talk about the games on NFL Wild Card Weekend, a full slate of games, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, going to be a lot of fun. But the big news, of course, is the incredible shakeup of the coaching landscape across football, NFL and college. We'll talk about all that.
Yeah, a wild week. I mean, some you saw coming. Some you definitely didn't. And at the beginning of the week, I thought, maybe 4 head coaching jobs in the NFL.
Oh.
Well, now there are 8. And there are pretty consistently 8. Yeah. But I think it's always still kind of surprising.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think there are many surprises in the NFL. No. There are some shockers and across college as well. Let's waste no more time. Let's get going.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpenhaus.
I come for the incredible conversation and stay for the great graphics from our guy, John Conlon. Yeah. Taking it to another level this week because of the news of the coaching changes. And here we go, Ash. I mean, we've got 58 minutes and 30 seconds to do this, and we're going to talk a lot about this here. Let's not waste any more time. People watching, certainly chime in, comment on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and we'll get you on the show here. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Pete Carroll. 2 of the 3 shocked me, and it's not Belichick.
Right.
I couldn't believe the news. I'll just my general thoughts here and then get yours, Ash, and then we'll really kind of break it down. I was stunned by the Saban news. Then you think about it, and it starts to make sense, and we'll dive into why, NIL, and transfer portal, and 72 years old, and all this stuff. Okay. Pete Carroll shocked me.
Yeah.
Just barely missed the playoffs in Seattle. He's 72 also. Acts like he's 42.
Yeah, he's...
I just thought the way forward in Seattle is still with Pete. Okay. Belichick's the one we all saw coming, a 4-13 season, 3 losing seasons in the last 4 in New England. The writing was on the wall. The offense is atrocious. There isn't one single player on the roster where you would say that's a really good player. They had no Pro Bowlers this year. And if I said to you, who's the best player on the Patriots, your answer would be what? Exactly. If you can't answer quickly, you don't have a star. And they don't have a star. They haven't drafted well. They haven't developed well. And so it's got to be a full reboot in New England, and that's exactly what they'll get. When you see these 3 names, when you heard the news that all 3 were out of their current position, any of them surprise you?
Yeah, I think the most surprising is Saban, because I don't know that, he hadn't mentioned it. There was no talk of it. It wasn't, and he's got it made at Alabama. He can coach for as long as he wants. But to be very honest with you, of all 3, Bill Belichick deserves to coach for until he's 82, lose 17, 18 games a year, and stay as long as he wants. In my mind, he has earned that right. I hate the Patriots. I dislike Bill Belichick. I don't like anything about the franchise. And yet, 6 Super Bowls doesn't get you the leniency of 3 bad seasons.
No. This is a what have you done for me lately league. If he lost 18 games, that would be a record.
He
only played 17.
He's the only guy who's won them 6 Super Bowls. I get it. It's Brady, and that counts, but you gotta let him play.
So Steve does throw Matthew Judon out there, and I'm with you, Steve. Matthew Judon's a very good player. Star is a stretch in this league. Very good player, and obviously he was injured for most of the year. The defense still performed really well. Again, to Steve's point, this was a really good defense. They haven't had a stud receiver in a long time, and I'm not even going to give you Edelman. Edelman was awesome. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like a game breaker star receiver, they haven't drafted one. They haven't developed one. Let's
go up to Steve's first comment.
Yeah, we're going to get to Harbaugh. We will get to Harbaugh. Yeah. Hey, I like this. You know what's so funny? I was at Market 32 today, or Market Bistro. I was at Market Bistro. There's a difference. And a few of the workers there said, we watch the show on Sunday mornings.
I can't believe how many people watch the show on Sunday mornings.
Mark watches the show on Sunday mornings.
Mark, thank you for watching.
I'm glad you found us live streaming on social media. Carol, good evening to you as well.
We love the interaction of the live Thursday, but we do know that a lot of people catch it. I'm not awake on Sunday morning when this show is going on at 6 a.m., but thank you to those of you who are and who tune in and say, you know what, I'm going to, with the coffee, let's turn the Onoratos on.
Love hearing the people catch us on Sundays. Here's the Belichick resume, Ash. You said 6 Super Bowl titles. The guy should have been able to coach as long as he wanted.
In my opinion, should have been able to coach as long as he wanted.
Whatever detriment it may have been to the franchise. But 17 division titles, no head coach has won more. 9 conference championships, no head coach has won more. 49 consecutive seasons as a coach in the NFL. There will be a 50th. He's going to coach somewhere next year. That's a record. So it's as gaudy and glossy as any resume could possibly be.
Will he pass Don Shula?
Well, I think that's part of why he wants to continue coaching. Yes,
but you're going to have to go to a decent team to at least hit 500 and coach 2 more seasons.
2 seasons, yeah. He'll coach at least 2 more. I would give him 3.
But if you're the Falcons coach, you're not going to win more than 7 games. So you're going to have to go into a 3rd season potentially. Like,
they won 7 this year with no quarterback.
Oh, they're terrible.
I disagree. We will break down the coaching vacancies and where we would rank them in terms of attractiveness. But all of this is great. Mm-hmm. All of this is in the past. Again, it just hasn't been a good team. Even the 1 year without Brady in the last 4 when they made the playoffs and Mac Jones was a rookie, they got absolutely throttled at Buffalo. They offensively have not been up to today's NFL standard. You can't win on defense alone anymore. You used to be able to. When Brady was winning early Super Bowls, and Brady people won't like this, they were winning because the defense was great. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't asked to do a lot. Now you need a quarterback who, one, will not only be asked to do a lot, but can then do a lot. And the Patriots have not had that. It's just time, right? Sometimes it's just time. 24 years, Ash.
That's unbelievable. I mean, you got the feeling, and obviously you say you're not surprised. And I'm not surprised either, only because in the past, 6 weeks, past 12 weeks, that's all the talk has been about is like, all right, this is the end. Mm-hmm. The honeymoon, because it's been a long honeymoon, the honeymoon is over, no more. But again, it still seems to me like he has earned the right to go out on his own terms. And now he hasn't, because mutual parting of ways. It's not how he wanted to go out. He would have coached the Patriots forever. I understand he's probably not happy either because he's not winning. Maybe he feels like he's not getting the support that he needs. I don't know.
Would you hire him?
No. Heck no.
Why not? Wait a minute. Wait, no.
I wouldn't hire him.
Don't speak out of both sides of your mouth here. Play the same person who's been defending his record and what you say he should be able to stay.
That's what he's earned.
So you say he's no longer really that good of a coach.
Because
if he were, you'd hire him, right?
I wouldn't hire him because I don't know that he can go into a locker room that's not the New England Patriots, and I've said this before, and that he can win over a locker room the old school way. He's one of the very few, maybe the only, old school guy outside of like Mike Tomlin, who is probably 50-50 old school, new school. He's one of the only old school coaches left. Ron Rivera, not left anymore, who can do what he does because he's won 6 Super Bowls. But when he goes to the Chargers or he goes to the Falcons or he goes to the Titans, wherever he ends up, he doesn't have the luxury of saying, I've won you 6 Super Bowls. This is what you have to deal with. There are going to be players who make a lot of money who just aren't going to want to deal with his BS. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. Let's stay in the NFL here, and then we'll do the shocker in college. Pete Carroll out in Seattle. There's talk that he may stick with the organization in like a little bit of a front office role. 2 Super Bowl appearances. They were back-to-back years. They won the year against Denver. They lost the year against New England. 14 seasons in Seattle. 10 playoff appearances. 5 of those NFC West titles. More wins than any coach in Seahawks history. It's not a long, deep history in football in Seattle, but it is what it is. And he won back-to-back titles at USC with one of those stripped away. The 2003 title was shared with LSU. The 2004 was outright and then taken away. And then they lost a national championship game against Texas, obviously, as well. So a dynastic run at USC, a terrific run in Seattle. This one surprised me. 72 years old, Pete Carroll, done.
Yeah, and I think the thing that surprised me most was that his teams in the last 2 seasons, specifically with Geno Smith at quarterback, have overachieved. Let's be honest. They have overachieved. They've gotten better.
And Geno's been hurt a lot.
They've drafted well. They have draft capital. I understand that. But they have overachieved, plain and simple. And so for him to be out now was surprising to me. And I just think, like, this is a team, if they had a really good quarterback, I think they're a playoff team without question.
And look, you have to give Carroll some of the credit with GM John Schneider for, I mean, the heist of the century with that Russell Wilson trade.
Yep.
Wilson looks okay, but Denver has decided he's not our guy going forward. And what Seattle got in return, both with talented players like Locke and Fant, and then the draft picks as well, that one surprised me. I really thought Pete Carroll would continue. It sounds like he might still somewhere else. This is just infinitely interesting to me that you've got Belichick and Pete Carroll. I think Hall of Fame coaches.
Well, one of them is.
Both on the market right now. That is something. Here's a guy who's not on the market. Nick Saban says he's done, retired. 6 national championships, 7 in all when you count the one at LSU. 201 wins at Alabama. That's second only to Bear Bryant for most victories at a single SEC school. Look at this one. 109 weeks at number 1. That's more than any program has spent at number 1 in poll history. And then more first-round picks, 44 of them, than losses.
It's a great stat.
I think they lost 6 games his first year. I think they were 7-6 his first year. So if you threw out that first year, I mean, he has 16. Saban has 16 straight 10 or more win seasons. No coach has ever done that. The guy, Alabama was a dead spot between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. Gene Stallings in between there, nice little cluster. But other than that, Ash, this program was in desperate need of resuscitation. Saban gave it to him in a big way.
Yeah, and I am interested to see if it can stay there because the college football landscape has changed so drastically. We thought it would never shift. We thought it would be Saban
Bama and Clemson and
all forever.
Right.
And
Ohio State,
And it has changed so drastically, and I tend to wonder what a move like this does because players now jump ship.
Okay, let me ask you: Is Alabama an attractive job? The answer is yes. It's a legacy job.
Yep.
But is it so much more attractive than, let's say, where Lane Kiffin currently is at Ole Miss?
Right.
I mean, you want to live in Tuscaloosa or you want to live in Oxford?
Right. There are plenty of places I'd rather live than Tuscaloosa. And that's what I mean by when Saban leaves there, no matter who you bring in, even if it's a guy like Dabo, is it attractive enough? Because the way things, like we saw Dion flip Colorado pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We've seen Sarkisian flip Texas pretty quickly. Things happen instantaneously now. And I think if you get a few guys, a few 5-star recruits to decommit from Alabama and go somewhere else, we saw it happen. It took a little longer in Michigan, but it happened at Michigan. Things happen really quickly and things change. And as much as teams and programs elevate themselves, I think the ability to fall just kind of off the face of the earth happens quicker than programs would want. And I don't think that'll happen with Alabama, but they could become very mediocre.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen with Alabama this head coaching hire.
Yep.
But the next one, it might.
Right.
If they misstep with this one, and I think Dabo would be a misstep, then Bama might disappear quickly. Lane Kiffin, for me, is the guy here at Alabama. We'll talk about the NFL openings in a second here, but we'll stay on Alabama for a moment. For me, if I'm Alabama, the number one target for me is Lane Kiffin. He was an OC there. He has the young, energetic attitude. He's already proven the guy can win big time in the transfer portal. You have to be able to do that. He's suave and smooth enough to work over high school recruits, but also to bring in that NIL money with backing from boosters and local businesses. I know Sarkisian will probably get a lot of love too, and obviously so will Dabo. But to me, it would be Lane Kiffin number one for me if I'm Alabama.
For me, yeah, and I think he'll be a talking spot. If you talk about a guy with youth and energy, there's nobody who has more energy than Dabo, and Dabo played there. So I don't think you can compete. There is no one who has the energy of Dabo in college football, I don't think, that I can think of off the top of my head. But that said, I think a guy like Sarkisian is in a better spot staying where he is. He's got a program that's on the rise. You've got an Alabama team that potentially is falling off, and you are in the prime position. You've got Quinn Ewers and you've got Arch Manning in waiting, potentially. You have the recipe to kind of be the next Michigan. So why not stay where you are? Donors, I mean, that's never an issue at a place like Texas. They could pay you tons and tons of money. Already making tons of money, but they could pay him tons and tons more money. So I think the spot that he's in, it just makes sense for him to stay. Even a guy like Dan Lanning was like, no, I'm good. I'm staying in Oregon. Because, again, he's got the pieces. He was losing a guy like Bo Nix, but he wants to build his own thing. And I think you understand that you're taking a risk by going to Alabama because you're not sure what's going to happen there. He knows what he's got in Oregon.
I mean, Oregon's got Dylan Gabriel coming in, and they got the kid from UCLA to back him up in a year. So Dante Moore. So he's in a great spot. I'm with you. It's not worth Lanning leaving. It's not worth Sarkisian leaving. But as much as I would be drawn to Oxford over Tuscaloosa, I think Kiffin would leave Ole Miss.
No, that makes more sense than the other two.
Yeah.
Kiffin doesn't have it as good at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And if you're Dabo, you're in the ACC. We saw what happened with Florida State winning the ACC. It's a conference that's on the decline. It's not a very good conference. It is all about the SEC and the Big Ten, and that's it. So you want to be a part of that, then this is your chance. This is your chance to go be a part of that. Like you said, you feel like the juice is lost a little bit at Clemson.
Definitely.
I mean, you'll never not be able to recruit to a place like Clemson because of the facilities. But maybe this is the time for him.
All right, we'll get into the NFL coaching vacancies on the other side of this quick commercial break, 30 seconds. We'll also talk about that Michigan National Championship. Harbaugh back to Michigan on a record contract or back to the NFL. What's next for Harbaugh? What's next for all of the 8 coaching openings in the NFL? We're back in 30 seconds.
The snow has finally arrived, and nothing's sweeter than a powder day. Make sure you're ready to conquer the mountain during our Powder Day sale at Alpenhaus. Find the perfect setup with a great selection of equipment from the industry's top ski and snowboard manufacturers. Not to mention the gear that will keep you warm and stylish with an incredible offering from the apparel brands you love. Hurry in for 20 to 50% off store-wide during our Powder Day sale this Thursday through Monday. Get outside and play with Alpenhaus.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
And a shout out to all of our local business partners on the show, Alpenhaus, Andrew Henke, Osborne, Saratoga Eagle, and Michelob Ultra. Jeff Buchlick, the president there. Novice, our guys, the brothers Garrett and Nick Bernardo. Performance Industrial, Bill Miller, and Marcella's Appliance Center, of course, Johnny Marcella there, Schenectady and Clifton Park. All right, so we've already kind of handled the Saban situation. There is so much going on, though, in the NFL here.
It's crazy.
And if you're commenting, we'll definitely throw things your way. And this is Steve. Yeah, Dabo has been very outspoken about NIL and paying players and all of that stuff. I think coaches they'll change their tune because they're going to have to change their tune.
Nobody likes change until they have to.
So 8 teams currently open. I don't think we'll see another one.
I don't think so
New
either.
England felt like the last domino to fall. So you've got the Patriots. Chargers was an in-season fire. Vegas was an in-season fire. Vrabel's out in Tennessee. That surprised me a little bit. Washington was Sunday night. They said goodbye to Ron Rivera. Atlanta was Sunday night. They said goodbye to Arthur Smith. Carolina was an in-season fire. And then we obviously already talked about Pete Carroll a little bit. So, okay. 8 jobs. As you said, Ash, these are generally – we're generally in the neighborhood.
We're about 8.
Of
almost
8.
every year.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Any of these on
And
your
hard to
list
believe.
surprising? You know what the common theme is, and we'll get to this as we rank our most desirable of these jobs. The common theme is no quarterback.
Yeah.
There's one team on this list that has its quarterback of the future for certain. Now, you have the Panthers, and they have the number 1 pick in Bryce Young. And you have the Titans, and maybe Will Levis is the guy. Ash is saying no here. You're not seeing her. But every other team on this list is looking for its quarterback of the future. That's how the NFL works here, right? I'm not saying anything that surprises people. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. Period. All right.
The biggest surprises for me were Seattle, which we already talked about, and Tennessee. I thought Vrabel would get a little more time. I think he's been really good. I think he's a player's coach. I hope he gets a look in New England because he is everything that is good about New England, that he's a beloved player. And we've talked about a guy like Gerard Mayo. Those are 2 players. I think that is the way that New England goes, is former player, somebody who fits the Patriot way. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I think he gets a job somewhere.
For sure. Should he take that job, though? We are ranking the most desirable jobs out there. Number 1 on the list is the Chargers for me. Elite at quarterback with Justin Herbert. He just needs the right coach. And LA hasn't given that to him. Brandon Staley wasn't the guy. Now, I believe that a defensive coach like a Vrabel can be the right coach. I'm not saying it has to be Jim Harbaugh or Ben Johnson or anybody like that. I think Vrabel could be the right guy there. They need an experienced coach. So I don't even think Ben Johnson is the right move. Why not just give it to Kellen Moore in that case, right? You're on just young OC, go with Moore instead of outside of the organization. I would go for an experienced head coach. Harbaugh would be 1 on my list. If you didn't take it, Vrabel would be 2. But LA Chargers most attractive job for me because of Herbert. They have a lot to figure out in terms of the cap and defense and all that stuff. But if you said to me, I'm going to give you a top 7 quarterback and he might be top 5, I'm happy to start there. Falcons for me is number 2. Maybe surprising to some people here, but I love the young core of offensive players. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. They've done well drafting offensive skill position players. Just need the quarterback. Now, I know. I say it's the most important position in sports, and I'm kind of sloughing it off like, just need a quarterback, figure it out. I don't know if that becomes like an experiment trading for Justin Fields, or if you try to move up in this year's draft because you have the 8th pick, not going to get a guy there. You need to get into the top 4 or 5, certainly.
You could get one of the 4 in the first 8. Not all those teams need
I know, but
QBs.
J.J. McCarthy is going to be the last
Yeah,
one on the
and
list,
I'm not
and that's not
taking
doing
him.
it for me.
Yeah.
If I can't get Williams, May, or Daniels, I'm out.
Yeah.
So Atlanta's got some stuff to figure out there, but I see it as a very desirable job. Seattle for me, right? Schneider's the GM. He's been there since 2010. There's stability. It's a winning organization. I like what Seattle has if they can figure out the quarterback situation as well. They've drafted well lately. Commanders, and it's simple. You're going to say to me, who do they have? But the new ownership
I like that situation a lot.
is, to me, outstanding. There's great promise there. And this is a great fan base.
Mm-hmm.
If Washington were to start winning, you're in a really good spot. And I like the new ownership group in Washington. So the Commanders, I almost put them 3 over Seattle, but I couldn't deny what Seattle's been able to do from a winning standpoint. Now, Tennessee, vibrant city. What's better than Nashville? And you've got a new stadium coming. You have to figure out everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I question the front office moves in the last couple of years, the trading of A.J. Brown, but it's a little bit of a reboot. But there are 2 things there that you kind of hang your hat on. Patriots. Kraft wants to win. Kraft wants to show that he can win post Brady and post Belichick. He'll be motivated. And they've got more than $100 million in cap space. So that makes that situation good. Raiders, I don't have a lot to say here. It's Vegas. Okay, yeah. Do you want to work for Mark Davis? No, probably not. And they have a lot to figure out, too. They don't have a quarterback. Devontae Adams is another year older. You have Max Crosby on the defensive side of the ball, but what else? And Josh Jacobs is a running back that's going to hit free agency. And then the Panthers. David Tepper is just out of his mind. Wealthy owner. He's willing to spend money. And I don't mean
coaches not to coach.
That's what I mean. He's willing to spend money on the coach, so you go because the paycheck is good. There isn't anything else good about that situation in Carolina right now. Bryce Young is not shown. He belongs in this league. Some of that is due to the fact that he doesn't have real offensive weapons to lean on. So it's the last job on the list for me. Thoughts? And yours now.
Yeah, mine looks so sad compared to yours.
Well,
I didn't give any notes.
I'm verbose.
I didn't give any notes. I apologize. I didn't have a lot of time while I was working today. Chargers for me, that's a slam dunk. You covered it. You've got the best quarterback available of all these teams. And I just think while cap space is going to be a problem, if you could re-sign some of those guys, not even all of those guys, and draft a few, I think you're in a really good situation.
I think Eckler and Mack are gone.
Yep.
They'll keep the likes of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Joey Bosa.
Yeah. The Seahawks, I think because we've talked about the draft capital, they have young talent. They're an improving team. If they just get a quarterback or someone, even if it's just Geno again, and it could be, I think they're good enough to be a playoff team. The Titans for me, it's just it feels like a little bit more of a stable organization. I'm surprised they made the move in the first place. But if you have a guy like Will Levis and you think he's your quarterback of the future, obviously you're going to lose Henry because I don't think they're going to pay him $1 bajillion to re-sign. But you never know. You never know. The Commanders for me, I love that job. I love the new ownership. I think they're doing all the right things. They've hired a guy like Bob Myers, who was the former GM of the Golden State Warriors. It's a guy who knows how to win. They're asking all of the right people to be involved in this rebuild, and that's something that never happened under Daniel Snyder. So I think they're going to make all the right decisions at the head coaching job and at all of the positions that they need to hire in that franchise, and it's going to be a new franchise. I'm not sure if Sam Howell's the guy, but they've got time to figure that out.
They've got the number 2 overall pick. They're going to take a quarterback.
They've got time to figure that out. So I really like that job. The Falcons, for me, I know you talked about the young talent. I'm just not convinced that ownership knows what they're doing because it's taken a long time and it's all of that young talent. I don't think Arthur Smith was the right hire in the first place, but maybe if you get the right coach to mold that young talent, it's an attractive job. I like the Raiders job more than most. I think it's a city that wants a winner. Raiders fans are as passionate as they get. You're in Las Vegas. They have a hockey team that's won a Stanley Cup. They're going to want to win, and it's a franchise that is also willing to spend a lot of money. Now, that said, I think Antonio Pierce is your guy. Yeah. I think you make a mistake if you let him walk and make the same mistake as you did with Rich Bisaccia and letting him walk. They should have given him the job the first time around. But I love Antonio Pierce. He's a Giants guy, so he's got a soft, special place in my heart. I hope they give him the job. The Patriots' job to me is entirely unattractive because of the lack of talent. But you're going to go there because, like you said, you've got Robert Kraft, who's willing to spend money and he's going to be motivated. And the Panthers' job to me is totally – I just don't trust it. You've got 2 guys who have gotten fired there and who are getting paid $80 million to sit home or go coach another team. Does Frank Reich get another head coaching job, or is he a coordinator somewhere?
Feels like he's probably done.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go somewhere and be a quarterback guru. So, like, maybe you send him to a place like the Chargers to be Herbert's, like, quarterback whisperer or something like that. But
I mean, this would be something. I think Saban's done. Nora, I hate to burst your bubble. Belichick to the Seahawks. I don't know that that's happening either. Our guy Mitch wants to know, where's Ben Johnson going?
you think Belichick and Saban could end up on the same sideline?
No.
Did you say that
No.
yesterday?
No, I said, wouldn't that be something?
I
But
gotcha.
no, I think Saban is done. I don't think he's
He
interested.
kind of made it sound like on TV that he wasn't super done.
He might be like in an advising role on some level. He's not going to be on a sideline. I can't believe that would happen. Ben Johnson was the hottest name
Someone who's going
all
to
season
get paid a lot of money.
until Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll were on the market.
I don't want either one of those guys. So.
I don't know where Ben Johnson goes, Mitch. It's a great question. I don't think he's the first choice for the Chargers. I don't think he's the first choice for the Falcons. I don't think he's the first choice in Washington. I don't know that David Tepper is going to look at all of these other accomplished coaches with Jim Harbaugh also out there potentially and target Ben Johnson as his guy. I think Ben Johnson would be the smart hire. If you can't get Harbaugh in Carolina, I think Ben Johnson's the smart hire. Let him work with Bryce Young and see what happens.
I also think he needs to go to a place that has a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see a guy like him work with Justin Herbert or Bryce Young because they're two guys who have the ability. They've got star power. Justin Herbert maybe more so.
But you could hire him in Atlanta and say, we need a quarterback, pick your guy.
Yeah.
You could hire him in Washington. We need a quarterback, and we have the second overall pick your guy.
Yeah. Does Washington have enough around him to? He's going to need time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I would like to see him work with a young quarterback and try to take those offensive things that he's done in Detroit and translate them somewhere else.
I think Steve's point here is good. It feels like Dan Quinn in Seattle. He was the defensive coordinator when they went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Feels like Quinn is going to get another head coaching shot. Remember, he was a head coach in Atlanta.
It's been a disaster.
It feels like he's been great as the DC in Dallas.
That's the thing, though.
But
When you're so good as a
he's
coordinator.
just a coordinator.
Yeah, he feels like one of those guys that gets stuck into that role, and he's a tremendous coordinator. And is he going to get another chance at a head coaching job?
Yeah. Have we talked about Mitch's Lions winning at Ford Field Sunday night? We haven't. But we are picking our games coming up here very shortly. All right. So where does Belichick coach next year? We put up the 8 teams that need a head coach. He can only go to 7 of them because New England's not taking him back. So, and he will be a head coach next year in the NFL. Where will it be? You see the openings again? Here they are.
There are very specific teams that feel like they might hire him.
And you already say you think the Raiders' job isn't open, and I agree with you. I think unless Harbaugh said, I want the job, I think Vegas sticks with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, it just has the feel of, for me, it feels like the Chargers will not hire him because it's got to be someone who's offensive-minded, who's creative, who's flexible, to work with a guy like Justin Herbert. I just don't think he's going to be the fit there. I don't know why it's like Commanders or Falcons for me.
Washington.
That's just how it feels.
Yep.
That it feels like a good fit for him.
Magic Johnson is one of the greatest winners ever. He's part of the ownership group with Washington. I think they go hard after Belichick. My guess is they've already had some sort of conversation. I think it's Belichick in Washington.
Yeah, I think Washington or Atlanta for me. But I don't know why I feel that way.
Okay. All right, let's take a quick time out here on Onorato and Miller. We're back in a minute. When we come back, we'll look ahead to NFL Wildcard Weekend. We'll make our predictions. We still have that Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult done to do as well. Back in a minute.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just do the best you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
The mountain is calling. Are you ready? At Alpenhaus, we have everything you need for your season on the slopes. Our expert team is ready to help you find the perfect setup for an amazing winter of skiing and snowboarding. With a great selection of the industry's top brands, you'll find the right skis or board to match your experience and style. And all the best equipment and accessories to keep you safe and comfortable. Get outside and play with Alpenhaus, run by skiers and riders since 1964.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, NFL wildcard weekend. It's not the best weekend of the NFL playoffs, just generally speaking, right? That divisional round is always usually so good because you get the top seeds in play now since they're the only teams with a bye. But this is, in terms of quantity, the best.
Yeah,
most games we'll get in a playoff weekend. So
it's the playoffs.
We'll take that, and it's the playoffs. Yeah.
Talk about the playoffs.
I know. All right, let's do it. How are we doing
That's a good question.
this season, Ash? Here are the records going into the postseason.
You better than me.
I spent a brief amount of time, 10 games over 500, so that'll tell you how the last few weeks went for me. But I'll take 45 and 40 to finish the regular season, and you're right there at 500. All right. So
I'm a game under.
I know. I'm spotting you one. Browns and Texans. The only road team to be favored this weekend is Cleveland, -2.5. I picked Houston earlier in the week. I think I'd like to change that pick now if I could. I can't. I'm not going to. But I think Cleveland wins this game now. Amari Cooper is back and healthy. This defense is no joke. Joe Flacco has found the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
They will run the ball effectively enough. I think Cleveland finds a way, but I'll stick with the home team and the rookie head coach and the rookie quarterback and say, hey, even if Houston loses, maybe they keep it within 1 or 2.
Yeah. I really love the Texans. The Texans at home. A home dog in the playoffs, give me that all day long. Home dog in the playoffs. I will take the Texans. I love C.J. Stroud. I think he's got a lot of good weapons. Obviously, one of them is hurt.
I like to have Tank down.
Tank, yeah, he's one of the most important weapons, and he's hurt. But they have a running game. They can hit the big play. I understand Cleveland's defense is tremendous. It's been really, really good. But Joe Flacco's been just good enough.
Yeah,
he hasn't been tremendous.
I get you.
So
we're overblowing it because he wasn't in the league and he's 38.
And he's won games. And he's done enough to win games, and I respect that. And he's got Cleveland in the playoffs, and that's all well and good. But I love the big playability of a team like Houston. A playoff game in Houston after they were picking number 2 and number 3 overall last year.
Yeah.
And now they're a playoff team hosting a playoff game. Like, I think the story's great. I love DeMeco Ryans. It was my favorite hire of the offseason last year, and it's paid huge dividends for them.
These two head coaches should finish 1 and 2 in the Coach of the Year voting.
Probably,
Stefanski won. I would give it to Stefanski. He's on his 4th or 5th quarterback. And then
it's going to go to Ryan.
And then I think Ryan's. I think it goes to Stefanski. And then Ryan's second. That's just my
I get it.
My feel on it. Okay. Dolphins and Chiefs. It's going to be around 0 degrees. Can it be 0 degrees? No, I think it's just 0, right? Because you can't have there's no degree if it's 0.
That's 0 degrees.
Okay.
You can have a -1 and a 1. You got to have a 0 degrees. It's a number on the.
I don't want to get into it. 0 is not a number. Dolphins and Chiefs here.
It's an integer.
No. The 4:30 games on our network, News Channel 13, will take it. Heads up, everybody.
Order Peacock now.
Only on Peacock. You cannot watch this on television. You can watch it on your television.
Sure, we can watch it on our television.
But not normal television. All right, enough of that. It's going to be cold.
Don't be surprised when
Dolphins
you can't watch
are
it on
incredibly
television.
banged up. Jalen Waddle is questionable. Raheem Mostert is questionable. Javon Holland, the safety, is questionable. The one guy we know will not play in the secondary is Xavier Howard. Holland and Howard. Kansas City 3.5. I thought this is a game they win by a field goal, and yet I just felt Miami might really struggle in the road environment and in the cold. That
for me.
KC
I mean, they're going to run the ball.
By 6.
The Dolphins can run the ball.
Correct.
And that's the big thing is in the cold, you need to be able to run the ball. But I also think this is the Chiefs' bread and butter. This is where they shine, is when it reminds me of the old Packers games when you see everybody's breath at the line, and this is what they do. I think Pacheco can run the ball really well enough, and they're going to go to a guy like Kelsey, they're going to do dink and dunk. They're not going to throw the ball down the field, which is good because Patrick Mahomes' receivers cannot catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to go to more of a dink and dunk, and I know they've dropped a lot of passes there too. But a guy like Travis Kelsey is built for this weather. Gruff and tumble, 6 to 8 yard passes, and run Pacheco. And I think you can still win a game like that, and it'll be wild in Kansas City. No fan base likes being cold. Maybe more other than Buffalo. No fan base likes being cold and showing it off than Kansas City more.
Will Taylor be there? What are the early reports on Taylor?
Oh, sure.
I don't stay that locked in. If I'm watching the game and they show a shot of her, I go, "Oh, Taylor's there."
Sure
I don't follow whether or not she's okay. So we're both on the Chiefs.
She didn't love the jokes about her camera shots.
Oh, what?
On the Golden Globes.
What were the jokes?
It was something like, an NFL game where you'll have more camera shots of Taylor Swift there than you will here. And they showed her, and she took a drink and did not smile. Whatever.
Why? I don't know why that's upsetting.
I don't know that it's upsetting. I just don't think she thought it was funny. She's not gonna laugh at it.
She's a little sensitive.
Maybe.
Steelers and Bills, 1:00 on Sunday. Talk about cold. Look at you. Okay, this is going to be a cold game in Buffalo.
Pittsburgh likes cold.
9.5 is a big number for a team that has struggled to score. But the way I see it is Mason Rudolph has been good, but without TJ Watt, it just feels like the Bills click this week. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl or even getting there, but I think this is a double-digit win for the Bills.
It just felt like the number was too big for me.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Pittsburgh's going to light it up, but I don't know that I see Buffalo scoring more than 28. And if you can get Pittsburgh close, I think they can hang.
Okay.
The close to 10 seems like a lot for me.
Here's the game of the weekend, everybody. Packers and Cowboys. We both like Green Bay. Now, we like Green Bay.
To cover.
Okay. Good qualifier there.
To cover.
Okay.
I don't know that I like them to win.
No, me neither.
But we'll talk a little bit more about upsets and
look. The only way Green Bay covers is if they score at least 27 points. It's the only way, because Dallas will be in the 30s. The offense is going to shred Green Bay's secondary. Shred them.
They've been better.
They've been better. Did you see the latest? Jair Alexander rolled his ankle in a walkthrough. Stepped on somebody's foot, rolled his ankle, and they're not so sure he's going to play. This was Wednesday. He sat out Thursday. What is going on with this guy? So Dallas's offense is going to have a big – CeeDee Lamb's going to have a huge game. It's whether or not Green Bay's offense against a good Dallas defense, remember.
And they play really well.
They've got to get to 27 just to cover. They won't win with 27. They've got to be in the 30s to win this game. But 27 gives them a chance to cover. I'm excited. It's house money. Now, if they lose, will I be upset and childish? Of course. But I will appreciate that they are there, and it gives me another Sunday to enjoy
if
Packers
they
football.
Win,
I will be insufferable. Insufferable.
No, I mean,
although probably not, because I will realize they'll get their tails kicked at San Francisco in a week, but that's okay.
Whatever.
Rams and Lions. Now, I like this game a lot. I think this is so great. Going to be a great game. Yeah. Stafford back to LA. Stafford back to Detroit. Yeah. Goff against his former team.
So good.
It feels now, and I'm not changing my pick, but everybody's picking the Rams. So either we all know something or we all know nothing. Yeah. Everybody's picking the Rams. I would pick them to win. Are you picking them to win or just to cover?
I don't really know. I think they have a good chance of winning. I just think they're playing like one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now.
Healthy.
And that's why people are picking them. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Puka Nacua, Stafford.
Kyron
I
Williams,
think
yep,
all of
yep.
it is just mixing well at the right
I'm
time,
with you.
which is why I'm picking them. But I really like the Lions. Nothing against the Lions. I just think that the experience with Stafford, they're both going to play with a chip on their shoulder. Let's be honest. He will play with more of a chip on his shoulder going back to Detroit, I think, to try to show like, hey,
Goff was the
remember
one
what you're
giving
missing?
up on, remember?
I get it.
The,
But he's not the one who has to go on the road to his former team. He's hosting his former team, and who cares? It's in front of the fan base who currently likes him.
yeah. Okay. Carol's asking who's everybody. The idiots like me on TV. I don't know. Everybody I hear make a pick on this game is picking the Rams to win. Maybe Carol likes the Lions. I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Kyrie's going to run all
And
over.
Mark says Kyron going to run all over Detroit. Yeah.
Williams.
This is a shootout of a game. What's the number? Take the over. This is a shootout of a game. Indoors, I think Stafford throws for more than 300 yards. I know people are saying Kyron Williams is going to run the ball a lot. You've got Kupp and Nacua. Bad Lions secondary.
This is awesome because I don't think it's that
Let's
far-fetched.
get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Let's finish our picks, and
Yeah,
then we will
yeah.
get to that comment from Steve, which is a really good thought.
Yeah.
Eagles and Bucks. Oh, well, I think you're Philly, right? Listen, sometimes our guy misses,
It's okay.
and sometimes I don't catch
He's
it.
crushed some
I like
brackets this
Tampa.
week.
Ash likes Philly. And I'm wrong. Cleveland is one of two road teams to be favored this weekend. You think Philly figures it out?
Yes, and even if they don't, they're such the better team. This is a Tampa team that has backed its way into the playoffs. They won 9-0 last week. It's not like Tampa is lighting the world on
No,
fire
far
and
from
they're hosting a playoff game. For me, I don't love the home dog in this case. I think the Eagles figure it out. The Eagles are the better team. The Eagles have way too much talent to lose to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. And I love Baker. I love what he's done. Good for him. If the Eagles don't win this game, I will be stunned.
And Nick Sirianni might be fired.
Stunned.
We both like the Texans, both like the Chiefs. I'm on the
There's
Bills,
Eagles.
you're on the Steelers, both like the Packers, Rams, and then Tampa and Philly different there. Fun. 6 games. It's going to be fun.
That is going to be fun.
All right, let's take a quick time out here. Got a really good comment and question from one of the viewers we'll throw up here in a second. Still haven't had a chance to talk about the College Football National Championship game and what might
Triple
happen
Ds.
with Jim Harbaugh and, of course, the Triple Ds with Performance Industrial. We're back in a minute.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through products and purpose. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
All right, here we go. We've done this show mostly without commercial breaks. We're going to roll here to the end of the show without a commercial break. So hang with us here. Steve brings up this point. If Green Bay goes to Dallas and wins, Mike McCarthy gets fired, right? Maybe Mike McCarthy only gets fired if Jerry knows he's getting Bill. Maybe there's a caveat there that Jerry will want to fire McCarthy, but only if he can hire Bill Belichick. Mike McCarthy can't lose this game. This is their third straight year of winning 12 games. He has coached really well. And Dak Prescott is good. He's not great. And they don't run the ball that well. McCarthy's been really good, and there's no way he should lose his job.
Nope.
But if he loses this game,
He's out.
he's going to lose his job.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, he's been one of the best coaches in the NFL this season. And if he loses in the first round of the playoffs, the fans in Dallas are done with him. Everybody's done. Even though everyone is kissing his behind for the job that he's done this year, how well they've played, the position that they're in. If they lose this game, there's no doubt he's done. And Bill Belichick would be the perfect hire for a team like that. That is exactly where I would plug, like Washington or Dallas. Like the NFC East feels like where it's at for him.
Dallas, you'd have a head coach who doesn't ever want to talk to the media, and you've got an owner who only wants to talk to the media. It's a perfect marriage.
Jerry and Belichick feels like a match made in heaven.
All right, biggest threats to the 1 seed. So obviously in this show, we're not talking a lot about the Ravens or the Niners. They have the bye. Biggest threats to those 2 teams in their respective conferences. Go.
In the NFC, I guess this is going to sound a little crazy, but maybe the Rams for me. Like maybe the Rams to make a weird run and knock some people off, because I don't really trust any other team exclusively. And yet I think I like the NFC teams to be upset. Like I like the road teams in the NFC more than I like the road teams in the AFC. You want to do your NFC pick?
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay. In the AFC, you got to go. For me, it has to be Bills or Chiefs. I don't know that I really feel that way, but the playoff experience of both teams, how they've performed, I think it's one of those 2 teams. I haven't been a big believer in the Ravens. They've proved the last 2 or 3 weeks that they're the best team in the NFL right now. And I'm still not convinced that
hammered San
Francisco. Yeah. I mean, totally destroyed. And I'm not convinced that the Bills and Chiefs won't figure it out and be who they are come playoff time.
AFC, it's the Bills for me. I just cannot see Kansas City going on the road and winning at Baltimore. Just don't see it happening. Buffalo's threat of Josh Allen just having some kind of otherworldly game gives him a chance. To me, it's Buffalo. In the NFC, great pick with the Rams, because I think the Rams win at Detroit, and then I think Dallas wins, which means the Rams would be the lowest seed. They would go to San Francisco. And I would rather have San Francisco coming off the bye, believe it or not. These teams that have the bye don't traditionally underperform, but they sometimes underperform. Instead of like, hey, we just survived the divisional round, now we're ready to go for the conference championship game. So it's Buffalo, and I'm with you. I think it's the Rams. I don't trust Detroit to go on the road to San Francisco to win. I don't trust Dallas to do it. Philly, Tampa, it's the Rams. And they're division opponents, so they know each other well. If Stafford wins at Detroit, look out. That team could get hot.
Yeah, they're already hot.
Yeah, you're right about that. All right, so we've done our picks. Let's do this here, too, really quickly before we get our triple Ds in. Michigan wins the national championship. What's next for Jim Harbaugh?
This, to me, is the hardest question to answer, because I think everyone assumes he's out. I don't assume he's out at Michigan. That's not where my brain goes. Just won them their first national title, and how long they can pay him all the money he wants. I just think he's got a good thing going there. I don't think he needs to leave unless he's got some itch he wants to scratch and go back to the NFL. And I get it. But I'm staying in Michigan.
I think he feels, look, maybe he doesn't care that much. Certainly his reaction in the post-game press conference after winning the title wouldn't suggest that he cares about the suspensions or everything that's gone on this year. But I think he looks at the situation and says, why am I messing with the NCAA?
Yeah, I get that.
Let me go coach the pros.
Yeah, I get it. It's less of a headache.
Not that you can cheat at the pros and not get caught with Belichick.
But he's not going to get the grace period he got in Michigan when he goes somewhere else.
No.
He'll get 3 years and he'll be out.
but he did reach one Super Bowl and he didn't win it.
Mhm.
So maybe I think you're onto something. He's chasing something still.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
All right, Ash, here we go in the final few minutes we have on this week's show. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is not done with the Longhorns. He's coming back. Does that mean Arch Manning is done in Austin? I'm going to say yes. The problem is it's so late in the game.
Right.
Where does he go?
Right. Because he's going to want to play this year. He's already sat out his freshman year. You don't ask a Manning to sit out 2 of 4 years.
You could go to Ole Miss.
You could.
You could go to Tennessee, places that could use a quarterback
and
like
they
him.
would take him tomorrow.
The Ohio State gig is full now with Will Howard. Could you not go to Georgia?
He could go anywhere and compete. Any team
play,
is
yes.
going to take him
Florida State?
to compete.
Just throwing it all out there?
You got to compete with DJ. But, yeah. I think...
Do you think is he leaving?
I think
he can't stay.
I think he leaves. He should leave.
Stay.
I think he leaves.
Yeah,
he should leave.
This is great. Steve says Albany needs a quarterback. Albany has a transfer coming in from Wisconsin, which will be interesting to watch.
And congrats to Reese Poffenbarger.
No doubt.
Going to the U.
Yep, he'll compete for a gig there.
My Dirty Difficult Done. The Knicks play has been dirty. I know it's only 5 games since the trade.
Good dirty, not Draymond Green dirty.
No, not Draymond Green.
Right.
The good kind of dirty.
Right.
Yeah. Has been dirty since the trade for OG Anunoby. I didn't love this trade off the jump, giving, I think, 2 pretty talented players in RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
OG has proved that he's pretty good himself. 5-0.
Yeah.
Since the trade, since he's been on the floor, technically. There may have been a game in there somewhere before he got on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But 5-0, the New York Knicks, 22-15. I'd say, like most Knicks fans, would probably take that. Tibbs has been super complimentary of OG, and they've been a better team with him. It's exactly. He pushes the ball, he passes, he plays defense. That's something that RJ Barrett did not do.
Yeah, he fits. I'm good with the trade. I didn't love including Emmanuel Quickly. I think he's a really good player, not just a good bench player. He's a really good player. RJ Barrett was overpaid.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, his contract is tough.
It didn't make sense to keep him anymore, even if he's going to get you 18 a game. Anunoby fits. Off the ball player, good defensively. Knicks have won 5 in a row. What'd you say they are? 22-15?
22-15. Not awful.
That's not bad.
No.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right, we're fired up for Wild Card Weekend. What a crazy.
What's your final score prediction, Packers Cowboys?
34-27.
34-27. I'm writing it down. Cowboys.
It's a cover.
Cowboys?
Well, yeah. You know what? I should pick Green Bay, shouldn't I?
No, you should pick who you think. I mean, you're gonna root for the Packers no matter what.
Let's go with the Packers 33-31. There's absolutely no way that happens, but I'm excited to see Jordan Love on the big stage with those young receivers. Dallas is going to light it up.
Go Pack, go.
Going to absolutely light Green Bay up. Have a great weekend, everyone.